Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to another episode of Intuitive Creators Spotlight, where we highlight the stories of intuitive creators who have transformed their lives and now are helping so many other people transform their lives too. So today we have here with us as a guest, Andrea. She's known as a menopause artist. Andrea is an expert in helping women navigate their challenges during the menopause through the transformative power of art. I am Stella, your host, and if you're new to this channel, please subscribe, watch this episode, let us know your thoughts, and stay tuned for more of these kind of episodes. Hi, Andrea.
Hi,
So happy to
Stella.
have you here with us as a guest.
Thank you for inviting me.
I really want to ask you this question. How did you discover the power of art for yourself? What was that moment when you just knew for yourself that art is healing for me?
That's a really interesting question because although I was very creative when I was young and I loved to create, my mum thankfully shared these skills with me. And I was an only child, so life could be quite lonely. So I took solace in creation, whether it be knitting, sewing, dressmaking, drawing. I didn't actually go on to pursue a creative or artistic career. Although, having said that, I worked in the corporate world for 20 years. I was training people to use IT. So the creative element of my work was course creation and document creation. And then I was in the corporate world for over 20 years. Children came along, I encouraged my children to be creative. We used to do fun activities together. And then I was selected to do a couple of public art trails because I submitted designs. But I really enjoyed painting those statues because I was in an environment which was creative. We were in a space. I was with fellow artists, but I still didn't consider myself a proper artist. But it was just like my tribe. So those times were special. And the first one I did was actually I now look back and I realize it was during my perimenopause. And it was the time of, well, it was just a magical time. I have so many happy memories and I met so many amazing people as a result of that. But when did it actually really hit me? Probably towards the end of lockdown, when I discovered painting with watercolors, which I'd never done before. And I created a portrait of a dog who was very, very poorly and gifted it to its owner. And just the joy from being able to create that portrait and realizing that actually I was quite good at it. And then the joy of giving it to the owner of the dog. That's when I realized how powerful art can be, this gift that I have, and that I can share with people and bring great joy and emotion to those people. So that's when I realized that, yes, this is how powerful art can be. Hopefully that answered the question, because I know I rambled on a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. How healing that is. And I can only imagine the person who received that portrait, how amazing that was for them, because it is a memory as well. It's like focusing on creating that memory for them, and especially if they had such a great connection with that dog. So it's very interesting how you described your journey, because it's clear that intuitively you knew from a very early age that you are enjoying the process of creation. And then, of course, as society is like sometimes telling us, oh, you have to have this kind of life and position and all of that. Of course, it's easy to just choose a path that seem like a normal path. But what's normal? Normal is what is right for you and aligned with you. So from your story, I know that you now create these beautiful portraits of pets, and then their owners will receive that. And you also help women that are going through menopause. How do you feel these two different aspects of your work help people around you? And also, how do they help you as a creator of these spaces?
So the pet portraits, just particularly for people who've lost their pets, it's a very special thing to have this memento of their pets. And yeah, that, you know, that really, I get so many lovely messages from people who've received the portraits. And probably they appreciate the amount of love that I put into those portraits. It's not just a business for me. It's, you know, it really, and you know, it when I'm painting, it's healing me as well, because it's giving me the space I need to be creative. So yeah, that's, you know, that's what I get from painting the portraits. In terms of the other work that I do with ladies who are menopausal, again, it's just about giving them time um, to express how they're feeling with art. So there's certain exercises that I do where they, you know, they're being creative and doing that, expressing how they feel about the menopause and recognizing the challenges that they have. But the other thing as well about creating art with me is that they're just taking time out from all the craziness that surrounds them, whether it be, you know, raising the family, dealing with aging parents, having a challenging career, and they're actually just taking time out for themselves, practicing self-care, and just focusing on this piece of art that they're creating. And as I say to them, you know, it doesn't matter how good the art is. I mean, it's all very subjective art, you know, things that I think are good, other people might not think are good, and vice versa. It's about the process of that creation. And it's just it's so calming, and, you know, reduces stress levels. And yeah, it's a magical thing, being creative. And it doesn't have to be you know, painting, which is what I do with women. It can be any form of creativity. Did
It
that answer?
is. It is very healing. It is very healing to just be present in that moment
Yes.
where like all the worries and the stress is dissolving and you're just
Yeah.
there creating, and you're not trying to make something that is perfect in the eyes of somebody else. You're just allowing your energy to speak. And that's so beautiful. And thank you for doing this kind of work and for sharing your gift with the world. What would be some of the biggest transformations that you've seen in people who you've worked with, helping them go through their menopause?
Um, well, there's an exercise that I do. It's quite simplistic, where it's called Colour the Menopause. And I've had women say to me, don't like colouring in. You know, they're quite not negative, but they just don't think it's going to be of any benefit to them. And then you get lovely feedback saying, wow, that was amazing. I really enjoyed colouring it in. And yeah, it has helped me. So that is really, really special to receive that feedback. And and just from women who, you know, say that, you know, I'm no good at art, but they derive great pleasure from creating the art with me. It's you know, it's very, I'm very lucky to be able to do what I do and be able to have an impact upon people's lives, just by sharing my gift, but also encouraging them.
Encouraging them to connect with themselves, and who knows, maybe some of them will be discovering their own beautiful creative gifts as well, because I think there is never a coincidence when we feel drawn to a specific type of experience or just chapter of our life or connection with somebody. So this is really fascinating. Now, I know that you have recently discovered that you have ADHD. How has this impacted your work, creativity, and I guess both art and life?
So I discovered 2 years ago at 57 that I have ADHD, and I'd never had any inkling of that previously, but I'd had quite a number of challenges over the years, particularly in terms of social situations. Even though I'm a very friendly person and confident person, but when I was younger, I just struggled immensely with friendship groups. And you know, actually realizing why I had those challenges and accepting the way I am, that I'm fine the way I am, that I don't need to change, that I've always liked to be different, which can be really hard when you're young, because there's this pressure to be accepted and be part of the gang. But a lot of creatives have this superpower. I call it a superpower because it is. And you know, you're aware that I'm involved with a book that Mandy Nicholson wrote, and reading the chapters in that book, she's identified these 30 characteristics of creative women who are neurodiverse. And it's like, oh yes, that's definitely me, and that's me. And I'm not the only one who's like that. Because I did used to think, why do I come at things a slightly different way from other people? And when I was in the corporate world, I used to do project management. And I was being told, oh, you need to use the Prince method of project management. And that just didn't resonate with me. I had my own way of doing things. And I was always very successful in the way I did things. I met all the timelines, but I have my own way of doing things. And that's okay.
It's
almost
okay. And then it's very important to bring your uniqueness into the world, because I think, this is how the world has continued to evolve for thousands and thousands of years, because creativity is needed. And sometimes, I mean, most of the times, as creative people, we might think differently. We might have certain times of the days or the week or the month when we feel like we can actually focus and work on something. There are so many different things that are happening. And when there is like everything comes at once and it feels overwhelming, you need to create your own rhythm, and then everybody will be like, well, just relax. Well, it's not that easy. There is so much that's always active. So I love that you decided to embrace this path and also to connect with other people who maybe are going through similar things as well. And yes, you mentioned about being a co-author for Beyond the Ordinary book, and you shared your story there. How do you, like, what was your intention, right, when you shared your story in that book? What kind of impact did you intend to have for the readers who will take the book and will start reading everything there?
Yeah, I mean, it was my first time writing my story, although I've always felt that I had a story to tell, and my intention has always been to help other people. So when I wrote the story, it was about engaging people and entertaining people. That was one of the intentions. But the other intention is that by reading your story, other people will be inspired and helped in some way. So I suppose the main thrust of my story is that you're never too old to change direction in life, which is essentially what I've done. And that it's okay to be different. And yeah, and that you should celebrate your or it's okay to celebrate your achievements. It's not being show-offy or yeah, I mean, my generation, we're called Gen Xers. We were brought up to not shout about our achievements and not to show off. So it doesn't come naturally to me to shout about what I've achieved. But my story does encourage people to do that and to recognize when you've done something good and to be proud of it. So yes, it was a very interesting experience, and it was also very healing for me to write my story. So it's yeah, it's multifaceted what it's writing your story, what it achieves.
Yes, and we always say that the products, the art that we're creating is very healing for the world, which is so true. And is also very healing for us as creators, because I feel that a lot of the times our soul needs to experience that creation for that next step of healing, and then we're gifting it to the world, which is beautiful, because then when everybody does that, when everybody shares their own gifts, how magical that is, and we are all collectively evolving in so many ways. So when people come into your world, and I know you have different, like two different parts of your business, the portrait part and then the part where you help women go through their menopause. When you connect with somebody who is going through menopause, how do they find you? What do you think attracts them to your work, your art, your personality? Or what is the moment when they just know, okay, you know what, I just need to connect with Andrea and for her to help me with what I'm going through?
That's a really interesting question, because when you create something that you know is of benefit to other people, you tend to assume that other people will flood to you and be, yeah, that's exactly what I need. But it's all about finding the right fit with a person. And I know historically I wanted everybody to like me, and I couldn't understand why some people didn't like me, because I considered myself to be a genuinely a nice person, although nice is a very bland word. But so yeah, you do need to find the right fit for you. So people who find me, I suppose maybe in some ways they're also neurodiverse. They will yeah, they will resonate with me, or what I'm saying will resonate with them. But also people who appreciate a caring individual, a genuine person, And I was in IT training for 20 years, and there's a term, or there used to be a term in IT called WYSIWYG. It was an acronym, and it stood for what you see is what you get. And that's the person I am. You know, I'm very genuine, and in our crazy online world, there is quite a lot of fakery, dare I say it. And I'm not one of those people. So yeah, those are the people that come to me. I think as well, women who are just desperate just to talk about it. And that was something that when I went through the perimenopause 10 years ago, it was before we were talking about the menopause, and it's such a lonely place, and you think you're the only one. And if I'd had somebody I could have, you know, just sat down with and spoken about it, and there'd be no judgment, and we actually have a bit of a laugh, because I'm one of those people. I'm very, you know, upbeat, positive, and try and make, you know, although I don't make light of people's struggles, I like to reframe them and make them positive and have a laugh about it. So those are the sort of people that I would attract. So yeah.
It is magical when you recognize and the type of energy that you feel attracted to. And by being exactly who you are giving yourself the permission to just reveal everything about you with the world. And then whoever feels like that they resonate with your energy, they will absolutely come into your space. And this is so freeing, because by being who you truly are, your authentic self, when you're showing up in the world, other people, when they see you, when they watch your journey, when they follow your path, it's almost like they are also giving themselves the permission to be who they are, because they're thinking, okay, if Andrea can just drop all the societal like preconceptions and stuff, then maybe I can do it too. And then that feels amazing. So if you were to think about this journey that you are on, because you've been through a lot of healing and you've discovered these beautiful parts about yourself. Now you're working with art in so many different ways. If you were to think about your journey going forward, how do you think it will transform or change, say for the next year or next few months, now that after you contributed to writing that book as well and having so many beautiful clients in your world?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really thinking hard about what's going to be happening next year, because I love being able to reach people in the online world, because obviously that opens up a wider audience and you can benefit more people. But I'm from a world where I've done a lot of face-to-face training, and I love that energy that you get in a room, and I know how beneficial that is to people. So I am looking at doing more face-to-face events, and, you know, working with people face-to-face, because when you're going through the menopause, it's quite normal not to have a great deal of energy and to feel really quite down. And to have that energy in a room, I know how much that benefits people. So that's something that I'm planning for next year. I'm also going to get involved in the promotion of the book as well, because I did read my story at an event a couple of weeks ago, and I know that it really resonated with a lot of people. So I want to spread the word about the benefit that can be gained from art. Also, I want to educate people about neurodiversity, and also the fact that, you know, you're never too old to do something that's your passion, that's, you know, to find your passion and to do something new. So I really do want to get out and speak about the book and promote the book, because I know how beneficial the book is going to be for so many people. So I have other ideas as well, because I'm a typical ADHD. I have all these ideas bouncing around in my head, but it's a case of narrowing them down and focusing in on things. So yeah, and the other exciting thing that I'm going to do, which I haven't told everybody, and I'm hoping that the people I work with don't hear this, because I work part-time at the moment, I'm actually going to be stopping that in the new year and going full-time self-employed so I can help more people. And that has been a very recent decision and a very exciting decision.
And a very firm decision, because you just know, you just said it. And so this is exciting. And I think it's showing that you don't, like, once you know that, okay, I want to embrace this new path, you don't necessarily have to just cut everything from the past immediately and just jump over the cliff right away. You gave yourself this time of transition where you worked on your art, you healed so much within yourself, and now is the moment when you know, okay, I'm ready now to fully dedicate focus to that, because it's clear that you're so passionate about what you do. And I know that so many beautiful people will benefit from the space that you create. So to everyone who's watching us, please check out the description of this video. You will find the link to Andrea's profile and all the spaces where you can connect with her. Make sure you do that. Check out her amazing work. And if you have any questions, you can ask them here or just reach out directly to Andrea and connect with her. And if you're going through menopause and you really need her guidance, just send her a message. To those beautiful people who are watching our interview and they think, okay, maybe I'm not there yet, maybe I'm still trying to figure it out for myself, I'm going through menopause or perimenopause, what advice would you give them as a first step that they can start to do for themselves to become aware of what's happening for them?
Well, there's a few pieces of key advice I'd give women, and I always say empower yourself with information. And you know, it doesn't matter which route you go down, whether you're going to get help from your GP, you're going to look at alternative therapies. Be informed, because particularly when you're talking with the likes of the medical profession, they are slightly ill-informed when it comes to the menopause. So if you go in with, you know, being wise, it makes a huge difference. The other piece of advice I would give you is that every woman is different. So what works for me may not work for you. So, you know, investigate the different options, but recognize that there is no magic pill. That because we are going through such a major change in life, and it's a change that you can embrace and that you can be positive about. It's not all doom and gloom, but you need to look at your lifestyle. You need to consider the different treatment options that are available. But it's also a time to think about, right, how do I want the rest of my life to look? And introduce self-care into your life, because as women, we're so guilty of focusing on everybody else, making sure everybody else is okay, whether it be our partner, our children, our friends, our family and our parents. But we do forget to focus on us, and it's so easy to get lost as a person, because you're somebody's wife, you're somebody's mum, you're somebody's daughter, but what about who are you? So I see the menopause as an opportunity to actually consider, who am I, what makes me happy. So those are my key pieces of advice.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for being here, for expressing your joy, your happiness, and your gifts with the world. And to everyone who's watching, thank you for watching us. Like this video, let us know your thoughts, subscribe to this channel, and connect with beautiful Andrea. Take care. See you soon. Bye.